Giants have their left tackle for now and the future. The Giants signed Andrew Thomas to a 5-year contract extension worth $117.5 million with $67 million fully guaranteed. And this will have him as a New York Giant through the 2029 season. This is a good day for the New York Giants, and I'm very happy that they got this done sooner than later, because I think Andrew Thomas is just ascending, getting better and better, and the market is such that I think that, better to get ahead of it. And I think a great job by Joe Schoen. I wasn't sure necessarily whether this would happen before the season, but I'm happy that it is. And Andrew Thomas is, look, we look back at Dave Gettleman's tenure, and I think it was nothing short of awful. However, 2020 draft, 4th overall pick, Andrew Thomas. And that was a year, and look, there's a lot of things to think about with that draft. And, what once felt like losing the Chase, what once felt like losing essentially the Chase Young Bowl, turns out that the Giants actually won the Andrew Thomas Bowl. I was devastated when the Giants beat the then Redskins, and therefore lost the ability to get Chase Young at number 2. I was upset, and even more so, Chase Young had an unbelievable rookie year too, and was a reason why Washington, in some ways made the playoffs over the Giants. It was 2020 was a bit of a weird season, and the Giants, almost got in at 6-10, but I digress. But Andrew Thomas now has been in the league for 3 seasons and has gotten better and better every year. And Chase Young, look, like, he's been hurt. I still think that when healthy, he's a disruptive force. But forgetting about that for a second, the other side of this is that Gettleman had a choice between about 4 offensive tackles. It was Andrew Thomas, Jedrick Wills, who went to the Cleveland Browns, Mekhi Becton, who went to the Jets, and Tristan Wirfs, who went to the Tampa Bay Bucks. And all have had, now in Becton's case, injuries have hurt him, but when healthy, Becton, I think, is impressive, but certainly, like I said, he was out all of last season. So that's been a problem. Jedrick Wills has been, good for the Cleveland Browns, I'd say, for the most part, but certainly not on the level of Andrew Thomas. And then Tristan Wirfs for the Bucks, won a Super Bowl as a rookie, but he was a right tackle. I'm not sure if he's since transitioned to left tackle, but he was on a good Bucks team, of course, with Tom Brady at the helm. But Andrew Thomas, I am definitely most proud that Andrew Thomas, out of all of them, is a Giant. And, there was a lot of risks. That was the 4th pick. So, look, you could have traded. Look, the Giants had a lot of options theoretically because of all of those tackles. Hey, maybe you trade down. We like all of them. But Gettleman clearly liked Andrew Thomas specifically. We are taking him at 4. We are not going to take any chances that we lose this guy. And, you look at this Giant team, and he is probably the second most important player after Daniel Jones in terms of importance. In terms of just pure best player on the roster, probably is Andrew Thomas. I would say it is. Could there be a debate there? I suppose. Right? Look, Dexter Lawrence just had an unbelievably good season and got paid. Of course, we know the talents of Saquon Barkley. I know the running back position isn't really as important as some of the others, but of course, Saquon Barkley, you can't deny the talent. But Andrew Thomas has just been great and getting better and better. The start of the 2020 season was fairly ugly, and I think it kind of was at its worst in that Thursday night Eagle game, which must have been around the middle of the season. That was probably one of my most frustrated episodes that I've ever done. That was when Evan Ingram had that drop, and they just, they found a way to lose that game. But I thought that Thomas got better as that season progressed, and it's just been better and better each year. With last year, really, he was a second-team All-Pro last year, and even still, I feel like Andrew Thomas is somewhat underrated, although obviously this contract sets an NFL record for an offensive lineman. But don't be fooled by that, because it's just, you're going to look back at this contract as soon as possibly a year from now and be like, wow, that's a very solid deal. Again, I'm very confident in what Andrew Thomas is and he will be. And it's interesting. He was honest, too, in terms of, okay, well, why would Andrew Thomas do this deal? He said, look, he's had some ankle issues. And so, it's nice to have that security for him as well. So it makes sense for both sides. But I think for the Giants, it's a fairly savvy move by Shane and just locking up your guys, and he's shown to do that. You talk about Saquon Barkley. I don't agree with this, but some might say that he was unfairly treated in negotiations. That couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, Saquon Barkley is being treated as every other running back is in this league, and better than some, right? But Shane has showed that he will take care of his guys. And all three of these players I'm about to mention were drafted by Dave Gettleman. Daniel Jones, Dexter Lawrence, and Andrew Thomas were given big-time contract extensions this offseason. And you think about a guy like Xavier McKinney next offseason, like what's that going to bring? And obviously a lot of that depends on how he does this season. But, really the vibes are very good for the New York Giants right now. Today was the first day of training camp. The one thing I'll mention there is that, and I'm excited about it, is that it sounds like Darren Waller was kind of the story of the day. And I just hope he can stay healthy because he could really, really be someone that is an absolute weapon and the best one that Daniel Jones has ever had. Waller could really, really be someone that can set this offense apart from what we've seen in the past. So that's exciting. But, for Andrew Thomas, congrats to him. He's still very young. I was always kind of envious of these other organizations that had these just, cornerstone left tackles. Giants have, look, even in their best of times, it was like when the Giants won their Super Bowls, correct me if I'm wrong, it was David Deal that was their left tackle. And he was like he was, kind of a left guard coming up. And that was more of a 5-man unit more so than just a great left tackle. And then they had their issues. And obviously things didn't work out with Eric Flowers. And the Nate Solder experience was an absolute disaster. So this is nice to have this stability, really big. Look, you hope that this Andrew Thomas, Daniel Jones combination is a thing for years to come. So, you can see things coming together for the Giants. It got very ugly for this organization. I'm not saying that, they've fully turned the corner by any means, no. But this is someone that, the Giants should be proud of. And, again, because I don't do it often, and I think Dave Gettleman was one of the worst tenures I think we've really ever seen here. Kudos to him for bringing Andrew Thomas. And look, to play devil's advocate to that, he was the 4th overall pick. He should be a good player, but it doesn't mean you're always going to get it right. Like I said, there were good offensive tackles in the mix there, but they got their guy, and now he signs a contract extension through 2029. Andrew Thomas, 5-year extension worth $117.5 million, $67 million fully guaranteed. Andrew Thomas will be a New York Giant for the foreseeable future.